Yes, here we are, episode 220. I know what you might be thinking. Wait a minute, but Dave, shouldn't it be 219? Because what happened to 219? You had to... Episode 219 was actually last week, but there was a malfunction, an issue with the processing. But the show must go on. Technically, this is still episode 220, even though 219 I had to move to a private section. It is episode 220 of McRae Live. It is, what is it today? Monday, January. Monday, August the 14th, 2023, 7:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A big happy birthday to my older sister, Jill, today. Happy birthday, Jill. I love you very much. I hope everything is going well and everything is great. Yes. And The Ring from 2002 turns, I didn't talk about this last year. It was the 20th year anniversary for The Ring last year. And, I missed it. So it's 21 years. Better late than never. Now, here's the crazy thing. So I'm not a digital guy. I don't collect or purchase movies digitally. Maybe I will start doing that at some point, but I don't do that. I am still a physical media guy. But here's the crazy thing. The Ring is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, period. I think it's one of the great horror remakes of all time, period. But the funny thing is, I don't have this thing on Blu-ray. Has it been released on 4K? Because, not everything is, or, from the older movies does get the 4K treatment. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was released on Blu-ray. I don't have it on Blu-ray. I still have my DVD copy right there, ladies and gentlemen, my DVD copy. And I gotta say, I've never been a huge, and you'll know, here's the crazy thing about living in Canada, okay? You'll notice it says The Ring, but it also says La Circle, which is The Ring in Francais. Here's the thing. Now, if just give me 30 seconds to say this, okay? For to my American brothers and sisters who may not know this, obviously, when you think of Canada, you might think of French. Oh, français, bonjour, je m'appelle David, comment vas-tu? Oui, 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 oui. Sure, yeah, that's fine. But there's really only one province in Canada, okay, that is a French-speaking province, and that is Quebec. That doesn't mean that you can't find French in other pockets and other places in the country. And listen, if you are French Canadian, you probably hate me saying this, but it's the truth. It's the truth. You can live anywhere else in the country other than Quebec and never speak a lick of it ever. Ever. It is, in my opinion, redonkulous that everything in this country has to be in both French and English. In terms of like when we, I just think it's silly. It's silly. Like Spanish, you don't see in the United States. You don't see, Obama or Trump or who's the president now? Biden. You don't see him reciting a speech in English and then in Spanish. No, but you got to hear it. You got to hear it because technically we have two official languages. Oh, come on. You mean to tell me somebody who speaks French, who doesn't speak a lick of English would not walk into a Best Buy and look at this without that there and go, The Ring, I don't know, The Ring, yeah, no, come on, they would know it's The Ring regardless. I just think it's silly, my personal opinion, nothing against French Canadians. French Canadians, we love you, we love our French Canadians, we absolutely do, but I think it's a little crazy because in the province of Quebec, there isn't a law that says things have to be, no, things can just be in French and that's it. Generally speaking, you will find some signs and some things in English, but it's only the rest of the country where it's, you'll see things like that. And to me, I'm always like, oh, but you're ruining the package. You're ruining the movie. You're ruining the cover. No, hey, it's not, it's no slight against the French Canadians. I'm just saying, it kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's like, let's get that. There it is. Just my personal opinion. This isn't an attack on French Canadians, okay? This is not an attack. So before anybody puts words in my mouth, that's not what I'm doing, okay? So let's just calm down, okay? Maybe I'm the one that needs to calm down. Let's just calm down and relax, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Anyway, now that I've had wasn't 30 seconds, it was probably 30 minutes, 3 minutes. So good, it's scary? Shouldn't it be, it's so scary, it's so good, it's scary? All right. And you'll see, of course, over here, the Francais, the French side, right? You got to have it in French on the other side. That I don't mind, like that. Okay, it's fine, whatever, right? Because I understand that if you are French and you don't speak really a lick of English, you're going to want something on the back where you can read it in French. I get that. But you can't tell me that without that there, you don't know it's The Ring. Come on now. Come on. Anyway. I have it on DVD. I have it on DVD. But I don't have it on Blu-ray. Oh, and hey, in the past, when I talk about PG-13, how, the rating, how Canada does not have a PG-13 rating. Our PG-13 is 14A, right? It's the same thing. See it right there. See that? Right there. 14A. It also says PG-13 on the back. Anyway, so The Ring turns 21 years old this year, and it is definitely one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And this is a film that has always resonated with me because of its eeriness and its creepiness, and just really a film that I remember when this thing came out, right? And for those of you that are old enough to remember when it came out in 2002, it was marketed, and this is the early days of the internet, right? Now, obviously the internet's been around for a very long time, but I'm talking about the early days of when, movies were being marketed online, right? The first horror movie to really take advantage of that was in 1999 with the Blair Witch Project. It was one of the first ones. I mean, so much so, we were so naive. We were so sweet and innocent and ignorant to, the power of the internet and the manipulation of the internet that, essentially a lot of people thought the Blair Witch Project was real. That's how crazy it was. Hey, Alex Shambach just became a tier member number. I'm a crazy tier member number 2, a new member here on the channel. Thank you, Alex Shambach. And also, earlier, is it still there? It's not still there. I know we had, who else did we have? We also had, we had Josh Lott, one of our great co-producers on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, and TF, I don't know what TF stands for, but TF and Butter Cookie and Simon Mills also became members as of late as well. So thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to become a member here on the channel, because I'm winding down my Patreon now. I'm no longer going to have my Patreon probably at the end of this month. I wanted to kind of wait till I got enough members where I, even things out. And because it's a lot easier for me to offer exclusive stuff here on YouTube. So if you want to become a member on the channel, the link is pinned to the top of the chat here. It's also in the description. Check it out. There's 2 tiers, exclusive perks, exclusive shows, a members only Q&A, a Halloween only show for tier number 2 called One Good Scare. There's a horror movie nights watch along. Our first watch along is going to be on the 26th of August, Saturday, I believe. You want to find out what we're watching, you might need to join. I'm just saying. Member only posts in terms of polls and images and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I wanted to get to 50 members by the end of the year. We're already at 63 in 1 week. Phenomenal. So now my goal is to get to 100 by Halloween. I think it's totally doable, but I want to build this community up in really cool ways. Now listen, if it's not your jam and you don't want to become a member or you can't afford it, no harm, no foul. It's just not for you. It's just, that's totally fine, right? But no biggie. But it is there maybe when there's an opportunity that you, or maybe an opportunity comes up where you can join. But it is there for those who want to do it right now and get some exclusive perks, exclusive shows, things like that, which I think is a lot of fun. So check it out. Again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, and it's also in the description as well. And so when it comes to The Ring, I mean, it was one of those things where it was in its infancy, right? The internet, relatively speaking, was in its infancy, and marketing and all that kind of stuff was a pretty big, they were still trying to figure out ways to market, and we were relatively naive, and a lot of that naivety comes from, not being exposed to and not being desensitized yet to the inundation that the internet has thrown at us. There's very little that we see nowadays. I mean, I was speaking to Bruce's daughters not too long ago, and they're 17 and 15. Hello, Ciela. Hello, Leah. And they had even, I forget the conversation we were having, but they had said that, like, because of the internet, there's like nothing they haven't seen. Like, you just go onto TikTok and it's like, it's all there. Blood, guts, gore, wild shit. Like, it's just there. Like, it's not like it was, for us, for those of you over 40, when we were teenagers, right? There was a naivety. And that's why I always say, going back to like films like Psycho and The Exorcist, it's very difficult for, I don't want to say kids, it sounds so pretentious, or condescending, but I don't mean it to be, but it's very difficult if you are of a certain age now to truly understand. You can intellectualize, but you weren't there, especially if you were born this century. You have no concept. You were born into cell phones and internet and TikToks, and you have no idea what it was like, back in the day, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, even the 90s, for most of it, that we were not inundated with this exposure to all these wild, crazy, gratuitous images and the inundation of all these subgenres and everything. I mean, the sheer fact that people can go and watch Terrifier and just laugh and just, if that had come out 40 years ago in the 70s when the exploitation splatter subgenre was really huge, I mean, it's terrifying, no pun intended, but now it's disappointing in a lot of ways, because it takes, what truly is scary anymore, but when The Ring came out in 2002, it was still very early, and films being marketed online was still relatively new. And so when you used to hear through television promotions or radio ads or on posters, when you would see things or hear things that were like, the scariest movie of all time, the scariest movie since The Exorcist. Like, now you hear that, and a lot of us, myself included, the over 40 crowd, we kind of go, we roll our eyes. Why? Because we are desensitized to it now, right? It doesn't mean anything anymore. It has no meaning anymore. But 20 years ago, 25, 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, when The Ring came out, it still meant something, and it was still cool. When The Ring came out, I was 23 years old, and I remember renting it. I never saw it in the theater, but I remember renting it from Blockbuster, or it might have been Rogers Video, which is like, was the Canadian version of Blockbuster. But we did have Blockbusters here too. So it was one of the two. And I remember I came home, and I remember being not literally nervous, but being kind of like, wow, like there was some mystique around the fact that I had this movie in my hand. It was like, this is like the word on the street, and people at work are talking about it. And it's like, wow, this is kind of crazy. Like, what am I going to watch here? There was still that naivety and that innocence, although we were much further along, and we were far less naive than we were, say, in 1973 with The Exorcist and 1960 with Psycho. We were still, because of this new thing called the internet and the way it was being used and the way it was manipulating, our minds and our emotions through marketing, was still relatively new. It was exciting. I mean, listen, in 2002, there was no social media. There was no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Twitter, no YouTube. There was nothing. Really, all we did was we chatted on MSN Messenger. Remember that? MSN Messenger. It later became Windows Messenger, and or even ICQ. No, I think it's higher than that. Remember that? Anytime you got like a notification, Remember that? ICQ. Like, that's what it was. We'd chat online. We'd send emails. We'd send chain letters and emails. That was fucking annoying. It was funny cat photos and surfing the web. Yahoo! It was relatively still very kind of innocent. Social media changed it all. Right? Facebook, Twitter, it just changed everything. And then now we're all connected and it's all crazy. So when The Ring came out, when I had that, and it was VHS too, because you could still rent VHSs in 2002. It was still very much, it took up a lot of the room on the shelves still. DVDs were there, 100% absolutely. But in 2002, VHS definitely was on its way out, but there was still enough of a demand there that they still had them for rent. And I rented VHS because we didn't have a DVD player. So I rented on VHS and I came home and I remember thinking, fuck man, like this is crazy. Like, what am I going to watch here? You know what I mean? And we're popping it in and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and the lights are out and everything. And I loved it. I thought it was great. It's my kind of horror movie, right? You've often heard me say, if you follow me on social media as of late, I've been sort of talking about, the rated R PG-13 thing. And look, listen, you will always have a horror movie must be rated R no matter what crowd. You will always have them. I've even had people reach out to me and say, if it's not rated R, I don't give a fuck what it is. Like you can tell that they're really kind of insecure about their dicks because there's no need to get this kind of like vulgar about it. But they've sent me messages like, yo, dude, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck, bro. Oh yeah, like seriously, start a YouTube channel, you'll get messages like this. I don't give a fuck, bro. If it's not rated R, I ain't fucking watching it, bro. PG-13 bullshit. It's like, okay, bro. You know what I mean? But I'm not one of those people. Like, I really don't care what a movie is rated, to be totally honest with you. It never actually enters my thought. It's very strange. But nonetheless, I do recognize that depending on the film, right, depending on the story being told, a hard R rating might be appropriate for the story, and you need to go there in certain things for sure. But I do not subscribe to the idea that horror movie rated R or it's dog shit. I don't at all. As I've said in a recent social media post, or was it a video, I said that, there are two PG-13 horror movies that have arguably two of the greatest jump scares in horror history, and that is The Ring and Insidious, right? So it depends, right? The real answer is it depends. And what kind of horror you like. I mean, listen, I recognize there are people out there that just like slashers and blood and guts and gore, and that's what they love. And they don't like the intellectual stuff. They don't like the cerebral stuff. They don't like to think. I say that with all due respect, but it's true. You know who you are. You message me. Oh, fuck you, bro. Oh, fuck this dog bullshit PG-13, bro. I mean, okay. All right. I get it. I understand. But I'm somebody that, The Ring for me is a PG-13 horror film, first and foremost. I think it's got terrific, did you hear that? My knuckle. Terrific mood and atmosphere. I mean, it's steeped in just this rich, palpable, eerie, just lingering, like the mood in The Ring. And I say this in the most positive way possible, even though it's going to sound like I don't mean it that way. I mean this in the absolute positive way. The mood in this movie lingers like a fart. Okay. But I mean that in a really good way. Like the mood it's so thick and so rich with mood and atmosphere in this movie. It's just fantastic. And I still think the movie holds up today. I think the cinematography, the color, the color timing and color correction, just making it, just kind of washing out all the colors, so it's more of this greeny, kind of just bluey gray sort of look over the entire picture. I think was really, helps to add the fact that it's raining a lot, adds that gloomy sort of vibe, which is great. The videotape, of course, is just eerie beyond anything. I mean, it's just so eerie and creepy and strange. And I truly believe it's my kind of horror movie, because I love when it gets in here, when it plays with your psyche. to me, that will always be the scariest. But again, I recognize that there is a large portion of my viewers that don't care about that stuff. I've heard from them. I've heard, maybe you're watching, you don't care about that stuff. You find movies like The Others boring, The Ring boring, you find more cerebral, intellectual, psychological thrillers just, it's boring. I want Terrifier. Yeah, Terrifier. And that's fine. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there are places for everybody. There's a spot for everybody at the table, right? But for me, I don't know if it's because it probably isn't, because there are people my age and older that love all that shit too. But I'm somebody that in order to really get me with horror, there's gotta be more than just blood, guts, and gore. Like or a stereotypical jump scare, whatever. To me, it comes down to story, and how that story is crafted through the use of pacing, atmosphere, and cinematography. And when the director decides to, how they choose to ratchet up the tension insidiously. Now, when I say insidious, I'm not referring to, well, sometimes I might be, but I'm not referring to the movie Insidious. I'm talking about the actual word. The actual word means a slow build. Basically, it means a slow build of tension building to, something epically huge, right? It's this insidious, it means kind of moving, slithering, creepily building and building and building and building and building. That's what insidious means, right? I've had a few people think that I'm talking about the movie, and sometimes I am, but you'll know if I am. No, I'm talking about the actual meaning of the word. And The Ring is very insidious. Insidious is insidious, which is probably why it's called Insidious. But I like insidious type movies, like The Night House. Oh, The Night House was great. Yeah, like there's a great, The Ritual. From like 2018. Oh, yes. You know what I mean? My kind of horror. You know what I'm saying? So it's no surprise that The Ring from 2002 would be a Dave McRae classic. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so rich. It's eerie. I love movies. I love horror films that when there's nothing eerie happening on screen, you still feel eerie watching it. And The Ring, come on. Even today, you watch that movie and it is just steeped in so much eeriness and creepiness and mood and atmosphere. It's just wonderful. I absolutely love it. So happy birthday, The Ring, 21 years old. I think it's one of the great American remakes from the Japanese horror film. Of course, it is a remake, of course, from the 1998 Japanese horror film. I believe it's spelled Ringu, like Ringu, but I think I learned somewhere not long ago that it's actually just pronounced Ring. I believe. I stand to be corrected on that, but for years I was calling it Ringu, and you might have been too, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I wanted to read this little article here from Screen Rant. This is from 2019, so it's a few years old, but it's true. I really like what it says. So it says, The Ring is the best Japanese horror remake, is it? Well, I tend to agree. Gore Verbinski's made a major splash in the horror genre with 2002's The Ring, a brilliant remake of Hideo Nakata's Japanese film Ringu. Ringu has a huge reputation in Japan, and it's one of the more popular horror franchises to come out of the country. The story that's present in Ringu, The Ring, is very simple, but it also contains many of the staples of Japanese horror films. Ringu is able to stand out amongst the crowd, and it has enough of a following that its story was acquired for American audiences, and Gore Verbinski turned it, into one of his most successful films, 2002's The Ring. The Ring looks at a cursed videotape that puts a hold over whoever watches it. That person is given 7 days to show the tape and trap someone else in this curse. Otherwise, they will meet their end, courtesy of the ghostly girl within the video. Both the contents of the tape and this sordid fate are frightening in their own rights. But the backstory on Samara, the vengeful spirit that's involved in all of this, adds a heartbreaking human element to this story. I do agree with that. The Ring is also able to take everyday household objects like televisions, telephones, and video cameras into sources of intense fear. Gore Verbinski's The Ring made a huge impression on both critics and audiences, but nobody could have anticipated how it would affect the horror genre as a whole. Ooh, there's the eye from Ringu or Ring. Back in 2002, there were plenty of horror films that were attempts at modern remakes of older classics. However, the American horror market had yet to really understand the potential of turning out American remakes of top-performing horror titles from other countries. Japan, in particular, is known for its strong efforts in horror. They are. There's a lot of wonderful horror films coming out of Japan, and the disturbing characters and tropes their films have created. The success of The Ring showed both audiences and producers alike that there was a serious market for these horror films. The Ring even led more viewers in the direction of the original Ringu. Or Ring. The Ring's success opened the floodgates and led to many studios trying to acquire a major Japanese horror property, hoping that it would be the next Ring. The Grudge, remember that one, Sarah Michelle Gellar, certainly got the closest in that regard, but The Ring also ushered, excuse me. I was like, what? What the fuck was that? Also ushered, excuse me, in the production of remakes of Japanese horror films like Pulse, Dark Water, Shudder, and One Missed Call. Remarkably, all of the movies deal with somewhat similar ideas and feature a frightening monster that's not unlike Samara from The Ring. The major difference with The Ring is the care that Verbinski and everyone involved put into the production, exactly, as well as how it's largely most people's first exposure to this kind of horror. That was true. It's not just enough to adapt a story that's frightening overseas. Yes, there needs to be passion for the material and filmmaking. Yes, preach! It's why Verbinski's The Ring is such a triumph. But The Ring 2 and Rings fell flat. I could not agree with you more. 100%. The Ring is such a wonderfully, beautifully made film. The cinematography, the crafting of the lighting, the crafting of the shots, the pacing. It's just such a terrific, eerie, creepy horror film. Period. It's just fantastic. And I still think it holds up today. Bruce and I watched it about, let's say 2 years ago, maybe during the pandemic, and it still holds up today. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time, one of the great remakes of all time. Like I would put it along, I mean, there's lots of good ones, but they're very far and few between, but I would put like The Ring in terms of like remake category alongside 1978's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like that, I think is one of the great all-time horror remakes. And I would put that there as well. So fantastic. Just a great film, one of my favorites, and it's on the thumbnail. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, of course, although I have talked about it many times in the past. One of the great, most shocking jump scares in horror history, period. And let me tell you why it works so well. I've talked about this during my favorite jump scares video. Maybe I should dedicate just a video to it, but the reason why that jump scare in The Ring works so well, and why it still holds up to this day is because, and this is all about crafting. This is what makes the Ring so great, and it's so well crafted. That jump scare comes at a moment where you do not expect there to be one, right? There's nothing that's happening in this scene. Rachel and her sister, I believe it is, right? Or is it her friend or her sister? I think it's her sister. Anyway, they've just had the funeral. They're in the kitchen. The sister or the friend, I think it's the sister. Anyway, doing the dishes. They're having that conversation, and they're just speaking. There's nothing eerie. Now, again, like the whole movie is eerie. Even that scene in the kitchen is eerie. But I'm just saying that there's nothing particularly overly eerie that would tip the audience off. Like, it's not like they're walking around, a house in the dark where you're expecting something to happen, right? It's just two people talking. It's a little somber. She's telling her about what she saw, all that kind of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, just boom, there it is. And there's that screeching sound, that you know, and the face just goes like this. It's like, oh, oh. And again, in 2002, we hadn't really seen anything like that. You know, that kind of imagery was, you know what I'm saying? Oh, it's fucking creepy. You know, like it's just, like that elongated face kind of imagery was not a staple. It started to become a staple after that. But it's like, what the fuck? And it just happened so quick. It's like, oh, like it's just fucking eerie. The way it's lit and shit. It's frightening. It's frightening. Frightening as all hell. But it was the placement. It was the timing of that jump scare. That jump scare, believe it or not, and I'm telling you, you can take this to the bank. You can take it to the bank. That jump scare would not been as nearly as effective. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been effective at all, but it would not have been nearly as effective if that jump scare had happened, let's say during a scene where we're actually seeing the body discovered. See, that jump scare is a flashback, right? It's like a 4-second flashback or however long it is. Well, the jump scare would have been not nearly as effective if we were actually in the moment in real time with the mother opening up the closet. Maybe she's walking around. It's a little eerie, right? Because you're anticipating something to happen. Even if you don't realize it consciously, subconsciously, you are getting ready for it. You can feel the anxiety sort of building. You're getting ready for something to happen because the mother's come home. She's walking around. There's water on the floor. Hello, anybody here? Where, where is everybody? What's going on? She's walking. She walks into the bedroom. Nobody's there. There's water. She walks up to the closet because this is how it would have been crafted in any other horror film. She walks up to the closet. She's like, and she opens it and there it is. But you're anticipating it. You're expecting it. And so it's still a creepy image no matter what, but it would not have been nearly as effective. It would not have nearly hit you in the fucking gut like it did in 2002. It would not have done that. It's the placement of it. It was brilliantly placed during that scene. Yeah, Veda, come on in. Come on in, Veda. Veda's a fan. I can hear her. Come on in. Come on in, Veda. Come say hi. If you see the door open, you know it's her. Come on in. There she comes. Come on. You're a big fan of The Ring, aren't you? Yeah, I'm just doing my show. Yeah, I'm doing my show. Don't worry. We'll hang out after. But it's the placement of that jump scare. It's so effective because you don't see it coming. It in a lot of ways, it shouldn't be there, right? It shouldn't be there, but it is. And it works beautifully. That's right, Veda. Veda agrees, by the way. Veda's a big fan. Here, Veda, you want to hang? Veda's going to go watch The Ring now. Here. You go watch The Ring. You go put it on your little TV over there and watch and watch it. Anyways, folks, comment below and let me know your thoughts on The Ring. I do understand that there are certain viewers of mine that are not big fans of The Ring. I mean, clearly you can tell by the amount of people that are tuning into this show. If I was talking Halloween, there'd be 160 people in here, but there's barely 80 people in here because, Dave's talking The Ring. We know about it. Pfft, who cares, right? It's the way it is. But I think The Ring is one of the greatest horror, one of the greatest and I sincerely mean this. I think The Ring from 2002 is one of the greatest American horror films ever made, period. I'm not saying it's the greatest. I'm saying that it's up there. I do. I think it's so effective and it still stands the test of time. It still stands the test of time, and it was brilliantly crafted. It's still eerie to this day. It's like it's the same way I feel about Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Look, the production value is it's a 1978 movie. The production value is the 70s. The film stock looks like it's from the 70s. The actors are so much younger. I mean, clearly, you're watching a movie from the 70s, but it was so well done and so well crafted and so brilliantly executed for its time that it becomes timeless. If you are somebody who can watch movies within their context, because obviously there are people out there that just can't watch anything past, 2002 or 2010. Believe it or not, there are people out there that, they hear the word 1980s or 1990s and they go, oh God, too old, Dad, that's too old. It's true. It happens. But I think The Ring is one of those movies that will stand the test of time, and people will watch it even 20 years from now when the movie's 40 years old, and it will still be effective, just as effective as it was when it came out. So yeah, comment below and let me know your thoughts, folks, on The Ring. I would really like to know. Let's jump over to the comment section now and see what you guys are saying. We'll go a little bit longer here. I'm not going to stay on too long today, but we'll go a little bit longer. But yeah, hey, don't forget, my YouTube membership is live, folks. Would love to see a lot of you fine folks out there become part of the membership here on the channel. Would love to see it. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99. Thank you, Josh, and says, Friday is my birthday. Do you ever struggle with answering what you want for your birthday when people ask? I like simple things like a movie theater gift card. Pretty simple, but it makes me happy. Yeah, I do. Well, I don't know how old you are, Josh, but I just turned 44 in May, so I'll be 45 next year. And I don't have a lot of interests outside of movies. Really, at the end of the day, it's not like I'm a golfer or, I play golf or tennis or, I don't really, have anything. So for me, a gift card to the movies is fantastic. Yeah, that's great. Buy me like, $25. Of course, you'd have to get more than that now if you want a couple of movies out of it. But, even a $50 gift card to the movies, that's great. That does it for me. I think it's great. I think it's great. Let's see here. Chris Snyder says, I love The Ring. The sequels, not so much. Oh yeah, no, the sequels don't share the same, like that article said at the very end. The reason why The Ring is so effective is because it was brilliantly crafted. You know what I'm saying? It's about being in love with the source material and crafting a story and a film that is effective. It's not just produced to make money. It's not just, The Ring doesn't need a sequel, right? You know what I mean? And so I did see The Ring 2 when it came out in 2004, 5, 6, somewhere around there. I did see it. I didn't like it at all. I haven't seen it since. I never saw Rings. I think that's the one that takes place on an airplane or something. I never saw that, because then it just becomes your standard horror fanfare, right? There's nothing, I think that's what it is for me, because I tend to appreciate and like more of the cerebral psychological horror as opposed to the blood, guts, and gore slasher. It's not that I don't like slasher movies, but they don't do much for me really, and I think it's okay to say this is that, I'm at a point in my life where I need more. And I find films like The Night House or The Ritual or, Hereditary or like some really great psychological, that's filling that need. I can watch slasher movies and they may feel a nostalgic need and I have fun with them and it's great, but they don't do much for me. They don't challenge me anymore. They don't challenge my horror fan. The horror fan that's inside of me, they don't really challenge me anymore. But I know they do still, there are still people out there where, like, going to see Scream 7 for a lot of people Scream 6, there isn't a Scream 7, but going to see, like, the new Scream movies, like, really was like, yeah, like it for some horror fans, it was like, yeah, it's everything they ever wanted. For me, it's just another Scream movie. It's diminishing returns, right? And I feel that way about the Halloween films too. Even 18, although I think 18 is the best one out of the 3 of the new ones, at the end of the day, I think this is going off, a bit off topic, but we are during the Q&A part. Maybe this would make a great show on its own, but I am often asked, do I think we will ever have a Freddy, a Jason, a Michael again? Some people like to point to Art the Clown, of course. And, I've had trolls and haters of mine try to say that I somehow hate Art the Clown or something like that, which is not true at all. Not in the slightest. But I'm always honest with my feelings. And so Art the Clown, when I look at it objectively, he's still very new. And he has become maybe a horror icon, a new horror icon. We'll see what his longevity is like, right? Certainly within the horror space, he's become, I guess, iconic. But he's not a pop culture icon yet. That's very different. That doesn't mean that he's not well on his way, because Terrifier 3 may very well do that. Because Terrifier 2 was, because of what Bloody Disgusting did and the people they had support from and how they were able to release into theaters and, generate some buzz, and Howard Stern was talking about it and all that kind of stuff. That's important, right? If you want to become a pop culture icon like Freddy, Jason, or Michael, that's a different level. Those characters define a generation. Well, not necessarily Michael, but certainly Freddy and Jason define a decade. Right? That's a very different level. We're talking about the pop culture zeitgeist. That's very different. And it's okay to say that Art the Clown is nowhere near that yet, right? That's not saying Art the Clown sucks, right? This is where the lack of this is the thing that I absolutely loathe about some of the people out there that just don't get it. They can't think beyond their own fucking nose, and it's like, that's not what it means. It means that there are levels to this thing. And just because art is very popular in the horror space right now doesn't mean he's a pop culture icon, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a very different level. But could he get there? Of course he could get there, but we need more evidence. We need more time. And Terrifier 3 is going to be a very interesting litmus test for Art the Clown, right? To see where he's going to take and what's going to happen. I'll be very curious to see where that goes, but it's entirely possible. He's well on his way. But he's not there yet. It's very, very, very different. It's very different. Very different. And I know some of the guys who worked on Terrifier. They're great dudes, and they'd probably agree with me. They'd be like, yeah, I get what Dave's saying. You know what I'm saying? Because they're filmmakers and they understand nuance. But he's definitely well on his way, for sure. And so, but when it comes to like Freddy and Jason and Michael, and they're of their time, do you know what I mean? Like, they're products of their time in a lot of ways. And, it's like Indiana Jones. I don't know if Indiana Jones works today. And I'm not just saying that because Dial of Destiny didn't do very well at the box office. I'm saying about the swashbuckling, does it work today, in a lot of ways? A 1930s serial, the kind of, I don't know, I don't really know. We are on the verge of things are changing. How we consume entertainment, consume media, movies, what movies are, things are changing. And I just, in the world of horror, I just find, for me, I love my slasher movies. I love my old school shit I grew up with, but I find now I need to be challenged more. I'm nearly 45 years old, right? I need more substance. I need, when I'm, and I don't say this in a condescending way at all. When I was 10, those things scared me, but at 44, they don't really scare me anymore. I want to be scared. I want to feel the creepiness, the eeriness, and I want to feel scared. And to me, the movies that do that are the psychological, horror films, right? To me, those are some of the best. And The Ring is one of those films. And so that could also be a reason why I don't particularly care about the PG-13 rating. I really don't care. I'll be honest with you. Like, unless it's a movie that is a Friday the 13th or something like that. Well, yeah, that makes sense, of course. But I do stand by my point about that that you could make an Exorcist movie and make it PG-13. You absolutely could. Now, there's a lot of people out there that vehemently disagree with me on that. No, you have to have this, and this, and this. And I absolutely disagree with them on that. I'm talking about a hard PG-13, right? Like pushing the envelope. You know how there's like hard R's? I'm talking a hard PG-13, like one little smidgy over and it's a rated R. That's what I'm talking about. And I mean, Insidious was PG-13, for goodness sakes, and that's a hard PG-13. There's a lot of scary imagery in that movie and, creepiness and things that would be very unsettling for kids who are under 13 or even 13. So that's what I'm talking about. And I believe that you could do that. for sure. But it does depend on the movie. It depends on the series and the movie. But I rarely, or at all, no, I don't. I never question, like how I never question a movie's runtime. There's this obsessive need to know a movie's runtime all the time. And I equate it to it just being that people just feel that maybe they do really think that if a movie is longer, it will be better. Okay. I think it tends to be maybe more of a subconscious thing that they feel that if the movie is longer, that makes them happier because they get to spend more time with the franchise and the characters in the series that they love, even though they may not be thinking about that consciously. Because to me, I mean, unless it's a situation where, like I said on the stream the other day, where it's a television series and the first 5 seasons, there's 10 episodes and there's so much they need to wrap up. There's a 6th and final season, but it's only 5 episodes. And I can understand you going, well, wait a minute. Every season was 10 episodes. Now the final season is only 5 episodes, but there's so many loose ends and so many things to tie up. I don't know. Ooh, I don't really like that because that would be like a run time. Do you know what I mean? But whether a horror movie's 90 minutes or 100 minutes or 120 minutes, who cares? Like, I mean, I don't really, like, if movies have taught us anything, it should be that there are bad trailers to good movies, good trailers to bad movies. And runtimes generally don't mean shit because we've all watched 90-minute movies that are spectacular and 120-minute horror movies that are garbage. So who cares? You know what I mean? I never think of it. Whenever a movie is coming out, I never look at the runtime. I never think about it. I never care. I don't even look at the rating. If it's a horror, like when The Night House, was released, or The Invisible Man came out, or when The Conjuring came out, or when The Others came. Whenever there's a horror movie that's coming out, I never look to see what it's rated. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I'm either going to like it or I'm not. It's going to affect me or it's not. I find those two things. The rating thing makes a little more sense to me because if you're breaking it down by, well, if it's a Friday the 13th, it better be rated R. And if it's not, yeah, I hear you there. Like that totally, that makes a little more sense to me. But the runtime, who cares? I mean, it's not going to be 60 minutes. So, it's going to be at least 89, 90 minutes. So, you know what I mean? Those things I've always found kind of weird, but hey, that's me. All right. I think it was only one super chat that came in. So that's okay. I don't think I've missed any, right? I just want to make sure I haven't missed any at all. I don't believe I have. No, I haven't. Okay, great. Great. It says we got one new member as well. Cool. Yeah, folks, again, YouTube membership is now live on my channel. The link is in the description. It's also pinned to the top of the page. If you want to get in on something exclusive, it's a lot of fun. We got a Halloween only show. We got horror movie nights. We got members only Q&As. I'll share members only exclusive images and polls and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's a great way to support the channel. Be a part of something that's exclusive and helping to push the channel forward, because that's what we're trying to do here is, inject some new life into the channel, keep it fresh, keep it interesting, keep you guys on your toes, and just have some fun. You know what I mean? Have some fun and get something exclusive. I'm also planning, again, I just started like a week ago, so bear with me if, we're just getting started. But eventually I want to have some giveaways and contests and all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm winding down my Patreon, and YouTube membership is replacing my Patreon. So if you're on my Patreon, feel free to cancel your membership over there and jump over to YouTube membership, because I will be winding that down. I just wanted to wait until we got enough so it kind of evened out. You know what I mean? I didn't know how this was going to take. I didn't know if anybody's going to sign up. So, but people have. So it's really cool. Really cool. Let's see. Harry Hagen, my man, says, I thought Smile was reminiscent of The Ring and a good film. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by Smile. Yeah. I like The Ring. Oh, hey, my light went out. That's weird. Must not have been charged that well. I still like The Ring better than Smile. But I won't say I'm a big fan of Smile, but I do like Smile. I do like Smile a lot. I do like Smile a lot. I actually thought it was really good. And there were genuinely some creepy moments. I loved that scene when, what's her face there? Kevin Bacon and Kara Sedgwick? Is that her name? his wife, their daughter anyway, the actress, she's leaning up against the fridge and she looks over into the corner and it's like that Hereditary moment when they see the mother, but she just kind of sees the girl just standing there. Like, oh, fucking creepy. Love it. Like that's the shit I'm talking about. I love that kind of stuff. I love more of the psychological. I always will. I think I probably always have since I was maybe a teenager. I think it might stem from my love and my need of mystery. I love mystery and the unknown and mysteries. And I love the feeling of a good mystery and, how creepy some mysteries can be. And, and like, I love and then they woke up one morning and they never saw them again. Like, I love those kind of mysteries when people, listen, when I say this, obviously I need to preface this by saying it is absolutely awful when people go missing. And there are so many people that go missing and that are never found. And it is tragic and it is awful. So let me say that. I don't want to be insensitive here. It is absolutely tragic. It is awful. And I hope that whoever, if it's happened to you, I hope that, your loved ones are brought home or what's happened to them. But the mystery aspect when it's equated to a movie, you know what I mean? And is very exciting. But to be fair, I also think that's why a lot of people like true crime as well, is because of the mystery and that feeling, like, ooh, that's eerie. Ooh, that's, ooh, that's kind of, and you get lost in that. And that's the psychological aspect of it. Right. And so I like those kinds of horror movies that really get into your psyche. And The Ring, man, The Ring is some juicy, great stuff. The Ring is juicy, great stuff. Absolutely juicy, great stuff. All right, we'll go for like another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it. Let me see. Michael Meyer says, couldn't believe The Ring and Poltergeist were PG-13. Always thought they were rated R growing up. Well, Poltergeist was not PG-13. Poltergeist would have been PG. PG-13 was not around when Poltergeist was released. I believe Poltergeist in subsequent re-releases on home video when the PG-13 rating came out in about 1985 or 86, somewhere around there. It was re-rated by the MPAA as to PG-13. But when Poltergeist came out, it was PG. And when Jaws came out, I believe Jaws was PG as well. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, for up until 1985 or 86, it was PG, and then you jumped all the way to R. It was actually Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom that was basically the catalyst that sort of breathed life into the PG-13 rating. Now, it wasn't rated PG-13. That's one of the biggest misconceptions. I even sometimes get that mixed up. The Temple of Doom was not PG-13. It was still PG, but because of how violent it was and hearts being ripped out and all this crazy shit, monkey brains and all that kind of stuff, the MPAA at the time thought, you know what, I think we might need a bit of a buffer here between PG and R. And certainly, they were right, and PG-13 it was. And I believe Red Dawn, if I'm not mistaken, I think Red Dawn was probably the first. I think it was Red Dawn, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. What do you guys? Dream Villain says, if they brought back those scary movie films, they should bring back Naked Gun as well, but they won't, as people are easily offended and can't take a joke these days. Yeah. Look at Airplane, right? I would love to see a good, raunchy, completely offensive comedy like Airplane, or not that Airplane's overly offensive, but there's obviously some stereotypes in there that are just funny. But I would love to see a raunchy, over-the-top, offensive comedy. But you're right, in today's day and age, we're soft, and because of all the woke nonsense and bullshit, it just doesn't, It's unfortunate. So we just got to go back and watch those old movies, The Naked Gun and Airplane and all that fun, juicy stuff. Flick Symmetry, my man Tim says, just finished watching season 2 of From? Not bad, though. The writing doesn't seem to have any real direction. Feels like rules change each episode. From. Is that an acronym or is it an actual show called From? I'm not sure. I've never heard of this. I've never heard of this. Flicks. I've never heard of this. From. Or maybe it's an acronym. I'm not sure. Happy Sanjo says, hey, Rosalia, hope you're doing fantastic today. Great to see Happy in here. Super chat comes in from, hey, Joanna from Canada. Hey, Joanna from Canada. Great to see you here. Sends in a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Joanna. Says, hey, Dave, is YouTube membership replacing Patreon, and what is the difference between the two? Yes. Great question, Joanna. So thank you for saying that. Okay, so I have found, for me personally, it's really a personal thing at the end of the day. I found that my Patreon, because of how busy I am, right, with Dylan's New Nightmare, and now It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, and voiceover and all that kind of stuff. And I speak only for myself, Joanna, only for myself. Because obviously there are a lot of channels that have Patreon and have YouTube membership and Patreon and can slip between the two, and it's fine. I just speak for myself. I was finding it hard to keep up because Patreon is another platform. It's its own separate thing. And sometimes I would forget about it, or I would forget to, or I would make a thing. I'm like, oh God, I got to reschedule that. And oh geez, that's right. I got the Patreon thing. Because I was finding it difficult to keep up, right? Full disclosure. Hey, nothing wrong with that. It happens, right? It happens. And so when YouTube membership has been a thing for a couple years, but I thought, because YouTube membership is all on one platform, right? It's all on YouTube. It's not a separate thing I have to go to. It's all on YouTube. It's going to make things easier for me because I'm on YouTube 90% of the time anyway, right? I'm in the community section. I'm making posts. I'm, making videos, doing live streams. I'm always on YouTube. And I thought, because that's basically what YouTube membership is it's YouTube's answer to Patreon. It's YouTube's Patreon, basically. Now, full disclosure, there is a con. YouTube takes more. They take 30% of what you earn, right? Whereas Patreon, I think, is only like 8 to 10% or 12% or something like that. So Patreon takes less, but I'm sacrificing the move over and the higher percentage because I think we'll get more people invested. I think it'll be more fun because there will be more people invested. I'll be more invested because it's all in one platform. I've already posted some exclusive Dylan's New Nightmare pics to my tier number 2 members, by the way. So it's just going to be easier for me because it's all on one platform. I don't have to go to another platform, make a link, share it on the other thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I know it might sound kind of like, well, it's not that big of a deal, but to me, it's just how I work. So what I've decided to do is it's similar in terms of what you get, but I've rebranded a few things. So on tier number 1, you obviously get your name at the beginning of every live stream and every video I do on a membership card. So instead of having it on the end of a card or at the end of a stream on the Patreon card's gone now. It'll be at the beginning of every stream. It was at the beginning of this show today. YouTube members, channel members, McRae members, is what I call you guys. And tier number 1 is you get your name on the card, you get access to exclusive emojis and badges, and you get access to a once a month members only Q&A. Because I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, right? I just want to, I want to start kind of light and then build from there, and maybe we'll have more stuff and all that kind of stuff. Like I want to do contests and giveaways, but that's coming down the pipe. And then tier number 2 is you get all of tier number 1, but you also get access to One Good Scare, which is the once a month Halloween only show. You get access to Horror Movie Nights, which is a once a month members only watch along party where we watch just classic horror movies. And when I say classic, I don't just mean like the old stuff. Like it could be like modern classics like The Conjuring or Insidious or The Ring, which will be a lot of fun. And you get access, of course, to the Q&A as well, which is part of number 1. So that's what it is at the moment. Again, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. I just kind of want to, see how it goes and see how it builds. I wanted to get to 50 members by the end of the year. We're already at 63 or 4, which is amazing. So my goal now is to get to 100 by Halloween. I think it's totally possible, but we'll see. We'll see if anybody wants to get in on some exclusive stuff. So that's what it is, Joanna. Hopefully that answered it. And Reese Wilson, my man from down under, Reese Wilson sends in nearly 15 Australian bucks and says, I recently did a rewatch of The Changeling, 1980. Yes, with George C. Scott. Terrific ghost story. You should check that one out, Dave, if you haven't seen it. Oh, I have seen it. It's I believe it's also, it's either a full Canadian production or it's half Canadian. I did see it. It might have even been shot up here, maybe in the Montreal area. I can't remember. I own it. I haven't watched it in quite a few years, though. So I've got to watch that. I got to watch that again. But yeah, no, it's great. Oh yeah, it's a great horror film. That's one. Yeah, fuck. Well, you know what? Tier 2 members. I got to find it. McRae tier 2 members. I got to figure out how I'm going to say that. I should have called tier 1 something different. I'm not sure. Or tier 2 something different. But maybe I'll put The Changeling on one of our horror movie night watch-alongs or something. That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be cool. And Reese Wilson, of course, is part of tier number 2. I'm telling you. I don't know. Let me see here. Oh, put that down. Oh, Chester Franklin Jr. Hey, Chester, what's going on, buddy? Says, hit that like button. Also, the campaign is still open for anyone who wants to donate or buy perks. Show some love for It's Me Billy Chapter 2. Yes, that's right. Oh, it is. It's on. Yeah, don't worry. We're going to start promoting it again. Just wanted to take a bit of a break from it, let people kind of, rest from the It's Me Billy Chapter 2 promotion. But you're right. The campaign is still up. We're in demand. If you haven't got your Blu-rays yet, you can still get them. There's hoodies there. There's hoodies, t-shirts, posters. They're still available, and we could still use the extra funds, folks. It's there for a reason. That's why in demand exists. So yeah, we will be promoting it again very soon because we're obviously going to be going into the fall very soon, and we are neck deep in pre-production right now on Chapter 2. So very excited about that. And I still want to do that Halloween only stream, that 9-hour stream where I watch 5 movies, but it can't happen unless we get a 550 Blu-ray sold or we sell off the final 2 associate producer perks and 1 more executive producer perk. If we do that, I'll do the stream. If we do that, I will do the stream. So either or, just saying. Thanks for bringing that up, Chester. And I will promote it again soon. Frank Riker, my man, one of our great mods here and one of our great channel members. Frank says, sends in $5. Thank you, Frank. Says, I remember how you used to hold me, how I used to sit on your face and wiggle it. A quote from... Oh, Elaine in Airplane. Right. Yeah, Frank, I forgot. You're a huge fan of Airplane, Frank. You're a big fan of Airplane. I totally forgot about that. How I used to send your face in the way. You can't do that now. You can't do that nowadays. You just can't. Dude, there's so much stuff I laugh at. There are a lot. Listen, my girlfriend and I, we're watching, because we like to watch this. We were watching on Paramount Plus. They have the entire Cheers catalog, right? All the seasons. And so we've been watching some Cheers. And whenever we watch a sitcom that is from the 80s, or even the 70s, but certainly the 80s or the 90s, which is, the era that we grew up in, right? Whether it's, Alf or Cheers or, The King of Queens, or which is the 90s, or Everybody Loves Raymond, which is also, or Frasier, whatever it is, at least, I want to say at least once every other episode, because sometimes we'll sit down with some munchies and we'll just, spend an afternoon and watch a bunch of old shows. It's a lot of fun. At least once every other episode. I don't know if it's once every episode, but certainly at least once every other episode, there's a moment where we'll turn to each other and be like, well, you can't say that anymore, and it doesn't offend us because obviously we're of a certain, generation where, that shit was just normal. The things we used to say, just saying, we'll turn to each other and be like, well, you can't say that anymore. Holy shit, you can't do that anymore. But we're laughing while we're saying it because it's still funny. So yes, Airplane is hilarious. I think it still holds up today. I think it's still funny. Have you seen the sequel, Frank? Because there was a sequel, right? I think there was a sequel. Wasn't it called like Airplane, the second one or something? Or Airplane, no, it's just called Airplane 2, maybe? I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've seen Airplane 2. But yeah, that first Airplane's fantastic. Robert Kitzmiller, one of our great channel members here, Robert, sends in $5. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, the little emojis you're seeing beside the channel members is me as Freddy Krueger. That's the new member emojis, which is a lot of fun. Or badges, I guess. That's a badge. Yeah, the emojis is what you can actually put into the chat. One of our channel members should put the But Dave emoji into the chat. It says But Dave on it. I'm going to make more too, folks. I'm going to make a lot more cool emojis and badges for you people. It's going to be a lot of fun. I want to make some that are just really funny. You know, it's only been a week. So give me some time. Oh yeah, I forgot to read Rob's message. Hey Dave, how about the 2006 movie The Abandoned? Yes! Yes! Robert Kitzmiller, hard into the paint, slam dunk, swish. The Abandoned, 2006. Hang on, I just want to make sure we're thinking of the same movie here. Dude, I own this movie on DVD. I don't have it on Blu-ray if it ever was released on Blu-ray. Is this the movie I'm thinking of? Yes. Now, obviously, it's only got 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I remember really liking this movie. There's another movie. Robert Kitzmiller, one of our great channel members, going hard into the paint. This is what they do, folks. This is what they do. They got my back. Not that if you're not a channel member, you don't have my back. It's just I'm just having fun, folks. You got to say that nowadays because somebody out there is going to be like, anyway. Oh, the internet. Yes, you are right. Similar flavor as The Ring. You're right. It is steeped in such great mood and atmosphere. I could not agree more. Dude, I got to watch that movie again because I remember I think I rented it because I don't think it was in the theater. I mean, maybe it was in the theater. I'm not sure. But I remember renting it because from Blockbuster or Rogers or something and watching it. And obviously it affected me to the point where I'm like, I got to buy this movie. And I bought it on DVD because it was still, I don't know. Is it on Blu-ray? I'm not really sure. But yeah. Yeah, really awesome. Really awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. I might make a social media post about that. Christopher Ruggiero says, what's the total at? Just curious. Thanks, Dave. What's the total at? Christopher, do you mean total channel members or do you mean total on the Billy 2 campaign? Just at me in the comments here and I'll be able to see it. Fuck yeah. The Abandoned. Yeah, dude, I was going to leave and you guys got me excited. You're having me stick around a bit longer. You got me excited. Yeah. That's what I like. Did somebody put the But Dave? Nobody put the But Dave emoji in there? Somebody's got to put the But Dave emoji in there. Airplane 2. That's what it is. Airplane 2, the sequel. Airplane 2, the sequel. That's what it is. I haven't seen it. Is it any good, Frank? Or is it just kind of it's okay, but it's not as good. I doubt it's as good as the first one. Robert, the Blu-ray's like $40 on Amazon. Oh yeah, it's probably because it's one of those rare titles, it's really rare. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Yeah, Warren Armour says Cobweb. Yeah, Cobweb, not cobwebs, but yeah, Cobweb was. You know what? I liked it. I did. It kind of reminded me, like it had a little bit of that, the People Under the Stairs vibe, the early 90s Wes Craven movie. I thought it was all right. No, when I say all right, I don't mean it's just all right. No, I thought like that's, when I say something, yeah, you know what, I thought it was all right. That's actually me saying, you know, I thought it was really good. You know, I liked Cobweb a lot. I think maybe a little more story being fleshed out just a tad, but overall, like, I mean, terrific cinematography. Of course, you know, you really, I sort of called it, early in my, not early, but maybe halfway through in my head. Oh, they're probably trying to, like, you think that she's trapped in there? Hang on. I don't want to give any spoilers. I don't want to give any spoilers of Cobweb because not a lot of people have seen it. Let's just say that it is a very good movie, very good independent horror movie. Kudos to the filmmakers, the cast, the crew. I would have loved to have made something like that. Like, I mean, if you know, because in my filmmaking career, that's sort of where I'm at the moment, right? Is getting going, you know, and I would have loved to have made something like Cobweb, and I'd be very proud of it. I think it's very well done. It's got some definite creepy moments. There's one scene in particular, and I won't give it away, but for those who have seen it, I will just say dream sequence. There's some imagery in that where that is totally Dave McRae. 100% exactly what I would have done. 100%. Really, really, really well done. So yeah, I quite enjoyed Cobweb a lot. Still haven't seen Talk to Me, but it's coming. I'm going to see Talk to Me. I probably won't get to the theater to see it though, but I definitely do want to see it for sure. For sure. Kyle Buckley says, yo Dave, what up from Philly? What up, Kyle, my man? What up from T.O.? T.O. to Philly. Philly to T.O. There it is. Edward Nito puts the but Dave. Yeah, that's the. You become a channel member. You get that. You get that. I know. I'm like, who fucking cares? Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Maybe I'll put like some naked asses. I'll put like naked ass emojis or something. Or for hey, maybe there's the Frank Riker emoji. Just a hot tub. It's a hot tub. It's known as the Frank Riker emoji hot tub. I could even, yeah, why not? Frank, what do you think? The Frank Riker emoji. Christopher says, I'm talking about the IMDb, It's Me Billy, Chapter 2. Well, the campaign at the moment is sitting at, so there's three numbers, okay? So the total right now in the campaign, let me just do a refresh. The total on so this is the total amount we've raised before fees and deductions and all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about taxes. I'm talking about what Indiegogo takes. So the total we've raised so far on the campaign is 147,067 Canadian dollars. That's about 111,000 US. The total we raised during the campaign was 144. So we've raised about $2,500 since the campaign ended on July the 1st, which is great. And then there's the total that we get, right? Because we don't actually get, we would love to get that 144,000, but Indiegogo takes their percentages and their fees as well. So, which is about 9 or 10%, or 8%, 9%, somewhere in there, is what they get as well. So, but that's why you work really hard during campaigns to try and get your campaign into demand, because that way you can continue to raise funds and continue to reach more people. And because like I always say, believe it or not, there's still lots of people out there, Black Christmas fans and horror fans, that would still love to get in on this. And you still can. It's still there. Just go to the campaign. The link is in the description. Go there, buy a Blu-ray, buy a hoodie, buy a poster. You can still do it. I know the excitement has sort of died down a little bit, but I can assure you that we can still use that extra funds. And if we reach 550 total Blu-rays sold between the Chapter 2 single Blu-ray and the double Blues, I will combine them. If we reach 550 units sold, I will do the epic Halloween watch-along stream on October the 28th, where I watch Halloween 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 back to back to back to back to back. It's going to be like an 8-hour stream. I will do it Or if we don't reach the total Blu-ray sold, if we can sell off the final 2 remaining associate producer perks and 1 more executive producer perk, I will do it. I will do it. But we got to do that. If we don't do it, I don't do the stream. It's that simple. But yeah, there's still lots there, and we will promote the campaign again. We're going to do it again. I don't mean we're going to do like a 2-month thing again. I just mean that you will start to see promotion of it again on the channel and, across my social media as we get closer to production and all that kind of stuff, because we want eyeballs on it. We want there's still lots of people out there that would love to get in on this and that haven't yet. Right. So yeah, that's where we're sitting. That's where we're at, folks. That's where we're sitting. That's where we're at. I love the butt tape emoji. It's so good. It's so good. Joanna from Canada sends another $5. Thank you, Joanna, and says, there's a 2019 movie called Zed. That's what we say here in Canada, or Z, as I'm sure it's probably known, that I found pretty creepy with eerie atmosphere about a kid and his imaginary friend. Anyone else seen it? Fascinating. Let me just look this up. I've never heard of this, Joanna. Z 2019. Ooh, okay. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's quite good. That's quite a good score. Kevin and Beth noticed that their 8-year-old son Josh has spent a lot of time playing with a new imaginary friend named Z. What at first seems like a harmless relationship quickly turns into something destructive and dangerous. Fascinating. All right. Cool. Thank you for the recommendation. I'll look into that. Very curious about it. Edward Nito, my Godzilla brother from another mother and great channel member here, sends in $10. Thank you, Edward. Says, sup, Dave? I still remember my first time watching The Ring. I do too, man. I had no idea what it was. I popped it into the VCR and was horrified. The face still comes to mind before I open any sliding closet doors. Oh, dude, we were talking about that earlier. It's still, to this day, one of the great jump scares and images in horror history. Like it really is. It really is. It's one of the great jump scares of all time. And, it's in a PG-13 horror movie, which is fantastic. I love PG-13 horror, when it's done really well. The Others, The Ring, Insidious, Room 1408, The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Like, there's wonderful PG-13 horror. This idea that horror has to be R or it's dog shit is just, it's nonsense to me. It's absolute nonsense to me. I think that it really boils down to what people just want from horror. They just want, not all horror's got to be hostile and saw, folks. But anyway, I digress. I don't want to get on my soapbox again with that. But yeah, just yeah, man, The Ring was great, dude. It is great, and it still holds up to this day. I still think it holds up to this day. I really do. I think it's fantastic. Warren Armour says, sell some of It's Me, Billy 2 pineapple pizza. I might have to do it. Brooke Scarlett says, when does DNN drop this month? Well, if all goes well, and it's not delayed, and listen, it shouldn't be delayed, but if it is, it's for a very exciting reason. That's all I'll say about that. But I believe they're looking at, I think August the 28th or 29th or something like that for a potential release at that moment. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not the director. I'm not the producer. This is just what I'm hearing through the grapevine and being told is it will be in and around that time. Frank Riker sends in $2. Thank you, Frank. And says, Dave, you like movies about gladiators. Airplane. Dave, you like movies about gladiators. Is that okay, Frank, is that a line from the movie? I'm having a brain fart. It's going over my head. I haven't seen Airplane in a while. I got to watch it again. Yeah, I think you know it way better than I do, Frank. I love the movie and I've seen it a number of times, but you've probably seen it way more than I do because you can recite just dialogue like that. Listen, there's a few in there that I don't, but the one I love is Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious and don't call me Shirley. It's fucking classic. It's great. Rest in peace. Great Canadian actor, Leslie Nielsen. And then Sweet Tea. The tea is sweet tonight. Sweet Tea sends in $5. One of our great channel members here, Sweet Tea, says, for the channel, my friend, be safe too. Thank you, Sweet Tea. To you as well. To you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. Let me see here. Did I get all the super chats? Aaron Click says, Dave, just curious, why didn't you put the OG It's Me Billy in demand? The OG It's Me Billy was not put in demand because I believe it was, if in demand existed at that time, which I think it might have, I was unaware of it. And I closed the campaign, not realizing that we could have taken advantage of it. I think in demand was fairly new at that time. And then I shoot myself in the foot now because we definitely could have used, some extra funds for that. Because obviously Bruce and I did fork over some dough out of pocket, probably a few grand each. And we may have to do that with this one too. Not really sure. It all depends, right? It all depends. We've been very strategic with our budgets, as we always are. And we did raise the production budget 100%, but there's always those things that, again, like I said, those goals that we want to meet, having that contingency, having a bit of that extra where we can just maybe take that extra day, or take that extra couple of days. But, anytime you're making a film at this level, you take a couple of extra days. Well, the cost of everything goes up one day, right? So it's thousands of dollars just for an extra day. You know what I mean? So that's why it's great to have stuff in demand. And it's not just movies. I mean, if you're on Indiegogo trying to get your product out there or your service out there, they take advantage of that too. You'll often see those types of campaigns in demand because it's really helpful, and they stay in demand indefinitely until you decide to close it. And it's great because once we start moving into the fall and into the Christmas season and or even into the horror season and Christmas is on the horizon, people are going to start getting into the Christmas spirit again. They're going to start getting into the Christmas horror movie vibes, again. And obviously hopefully we're shooting the movie at the end of November. We're going to have a teaser trailer for Christmas and all that kind of stuff, right? And hopefully that'll draw more eyeballs onto the campaign as well, and we can raise some extra funds that way. But yeah, it's still there, folks. So if you've been thinking about getting in on it and you've just been humming and hawing and waiting, do it now. It could really help us out for sure. The more we make, the more we raise, I should say, because we're not making it. The more we raise goes right into the production, all of it 100%. All of it 100%. And, when you have a cast like we do, things ain't cheap. Things ain't cheap, folks. All right, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes left in the show, ladies and gentlemen. 5 more minutes left in the show. Frank says, bad news. Fog's getting thicker and Leon's getting larger. That I remember. That I remember for sure. Aaron says, that's a good reason. I think I'd only heard of going in demand shortly after. Yeah. Oh, we would have done it. If we had known about it, we would have done it. But then I had closed the campaign. I was like, oh, shit. And you can't redo it. So, or unclose it to, do it. So this time around, when it asked me, if you reach your goal, would you like the campaign to go into in demand? I was like, yes, please. Click. But you have to reach your goal. You have to reach your goal. So if you don't reach your goal, then the campaign does not go in demand. Not all campaigns go in demand. And I was reading, there's a stat online that only like 9% or something like that, some very small number of of Indiegogo campaigns reach their target goal and therefore are allowed to go into in demand. Only 9%. That's crazy. But that's because raising money is really hard. It's really hard. I mean, you guys saw it here on the, on the channel and all the campaign I was doing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I had people like, it's like, hey, dude, we're fucking trying to raise some money. And we did it. So it worked. So shut up. No, listen, 99% of people have been fantastic and great. But, there's always that one person, right, that just doesn't, just a party pooper. But it's not easy. It's not easy raising funds, especially raising funds for a fan film, a Black Christmas fan film on Indiegogo. I mean, it's not like we're, you know what I mean? Like and it's not like I have a gigantic following. I mean, I have a presence. I'm one of the larger, presence and channels in the, in the horror community and space. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. But it's not like I'm Joe Rogan. I'm not Chris Stuckman, who raised like, $1 million for his movie in like, I don't know, an hour. And he's still looking to raise money. It costs money, costs a lot of money to make movies. And, the fact that we raised as much as we did is a testament to all of your love and support and belief in myself and Bruce in the project. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. But yeah, it's in demand and we could still use a bit of that extra. 100% we could, 100% for sure. So by all means, share it with your friends, share it with your family. If you've been thinking about getting that Blu-ray or hoodie or t-shirt, now's the time. And like I said, we reach 550 Blu-rays, I will do the epic Halloween stream. But if we don't, and we can't do that, as long as we sell off the last 2 associate producer perks, there's only 2 left, and 1 more executive producer perk, I will do the Halloween stream. There's enough time. There's still time, folks. There's still time. There's still time, baby, 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 baby. All right. Have I got all the super chats? I think I did. I appreciate the super chats that came in. Thank you so much for sending those super chats in. Really appreciate it. We've hit 90 minutes now. There's still 2 minutes left, actually. There's still 2 minutes left. Guitarist Dog 87 says, Dave, is it just me or is 2017's It hasn't aged very well already? I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't seen It Chapter 1 probably since it came out. I haven't seen it. So, I don't know. I have to watch it again. I'd have to watch it again. Nice beaver. Well, that's a line I know. Yeah, see, Frank's. Yeah, I know that one. And there's an actual beaver there. Yeah, it's really funny. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, is there any cast members of The Ring 2002 that are doing movies this year, an upcoming year? Definitely one of the best remakes, The Ring 2002. Cheers to you, man. I don't know. You'd have to Google it, Chester. You'd have to Google The Ring and then go to the cast list and go to their IMDb's and see what they have coming up. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked. I don't know. I would imagine that they would. Josh McKenna sends in $1.99. Thank you, Josh, and says, I like the show Married with Children. Oh, yes. Speaking of, Josh, speaking of not politically correct and stuff you could not say or do on television today, Married with Children, definitely one of those shows. Late 80s, early 90s, for sure. 100%. And I used to watch, I didn't watch it when I was a teenager. It would come on, you know, love and marriage, go together like a horse and carriage, this I tell you. Love and marriage. It's my epic singing. I'd watch it, but I wouldn't watch it all the time. But yeah, no, it was like, oh, you couldn't. I'm surprised it hasn't been canceled yet. I'm surprised that what's his face there? Not Al Bundy, his real name. Oh God. The fuck's his real name? I forget his name. Anyway, I'm surprised he hasn't, people haven't come after him because of what his character did. But yeah, no, Married with Children is great. But did you know that at the beginning of Married with Children, when you see the station wagon driving along the highway with the backdrop of Chicago, did you know that that's literally ripped from from Vacation from 1983? Oh, it's not stock footage. No, it's literally the shot from the original Vacation from 1983. When the Griswolds are in the station wagon and they're heading off on their summer vacation, and in the background you see, the John Hancock Tower. You see the skyline of Chicago, and they're driving along to Holiday Road, right? Holiday Road. They're driving along to Holiday. That'd be a hell of a vacation. But they're driving along to I can't sing clearly. They're driving along to Holiday Road. A clip of that, Ed O'Neill, that's it. Thank you. A clip of that, they literally, I don't know how they were able to do it. They ripped it. Literally, it's the same shot in the opening of Married with Children. Same shot. And it's a known thing. Like it's known that people, Were they both owned by Warner Brothers? I think it was Warner Brothers that did Vacation, right? So maybe was Married with Children or Warner? Were they Viacom? Is Viacom Paramount? Warner Brothers? Maybe they were Warner. I don't know. But fuck, man. It's hilarious. I find it hilarious. But yeah, Josh, I agree with you, buddy. I absolutely agree with you. Danita Brown says, Dave, from a series, From is a series, and it's on MGM season 2, and season 1 is on Epix. Okay, cool. Thank you for that clarification. I forgot. Yeah, Flick Symmetry, one of our great members here and supporters on the channel. I believe actually also an associate producer on It's Me Billy Chapter 2, was talking about that. So that's what that is. Okay, From. I'll have to check. I've actually never heard of it, so I'll have to check it out. I will have to check it out. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode of McRae Live. Thank you to my amazing channel members out there for your lovely support. Really appreciate it. We've only been live here on the channel with channel membership for 1 week, and we've already got about 64 or 65 members. I would love to get to 100 before the end, by Halloween. Is what I'd like to do. And thank you to my great moderators, of course, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. And thank you to the Super Chat questions that came in today. Very much appreciate that as well. You are all amazing. Thank you for tuning into this episode. And yeah, hey, if you're watching live or after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts on The Ring. It's celebrated. I'm a little late to the party. It was 20 years last year. What the hell, right? 21 years, The Ring, in my opinion, one of the all-time great horror remakes of all time, period. And one of my favorite horror films of all time, period, has one of the greatest jump scares, one of the greatest images of all time. The Ring. What can I say? Jump into the comment section and let me know. Have a great rest of your Monday night, folks, and I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.